All right, everybody, welcome to the imho.love show. Hopefully, I'm broadcasting on the Facebook thing. I just got a phone call right at the very same moment we went on the air. Can you come here and check this for me, Vaughn? Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to imho.love. I'm Lou Angelwolf. Sitting right next to me is Michael Murburg. We're trying a new camera angle, see how all that's going. And welcome aboard, everybody. IMHO is it stands for in my humble opinion, and that's really all we got these days, ladies and gentlemen, is a humble opinion. Because can you see if it's playing, Vaughn? And I don't know if it is. Go back. There you go. There you go. Resume. There we go. Okay.
Joe Rogan doesn't have these problems.
Every week, man, and that's nobody's fault that I got a phone call in the middle of it, but. Every week there's just something going on. I want to go to a pre-recorded show or something.
Nah, well, what the heck you can do.
Live, baby, live.
That's right. It's where the humor is fresh.
Yes. Well, we started. Hey, we got a new camera angle here. Everybody, take a look. Tell me what you think. We moved in on the desk here. Vaughn helped us set this up, and I think it looks okay. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And it's got a little wiggle to it, but that's okay. I don't mind things with a little wiggle to them. Welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight, we're just going to kind of go through. In fact, Michael and I were just talking about stuff that you did a long time ago that comes all the way back around. And the last few weeks, I've really been contemplating and reinvesting my thought and belief in circular time, cyclical time. That things happen literally in loops. People come back around in your life. Events come back around in your life. Energies come back around in your life. And knowledges come back around in your life.
And ETs.
And the ETs, man, the ETs.
Yeah, kind of wonder if the ETs I've had contact with in the last few years are the same ones that were hanging out when I was just a kid.
Yeah, and as far as time is concerned, it could be later on in the afternoon for them.
Right. Yeah, they could have aged and gone back in time and be older then than they are now. They can do this stuff.
I can't wait for those days. But Michael and I were just talking how we both took Latin when we were young kids. And he liked it a lot. I took a year of it, and I have found it very helpful throughout my whole life. When you're trying to read something, if you got a little Latin background, you'll see a word, you'll see the root of a word or the beginning of a word, and you'll go, oh, okay, this is the direction that this meaning has.
Right.
Very, very interesting. Happy about it.
Yeah, a buddy of mine actually went to medical school, and the summer before he went to medical school, took a Greek dictionary, and he learned Greek and all the roots and all that stuff, because medicine is Greek and law is Latin. So, and they both train your mind. And I decided that I was going to buy a book on ethics, and it turned out that the book that I bought was by Benedict Spinoza, and the one that I bought was in Latin, and instead of sending it back, I opened it up and started reading it. And even though I hadn't read Latin in 50 years,
wow,
it was legible and I could read it. I could understand every paragraph.
You just proved it to me right there. It was really kind of amazing, and I have been very grateful for that. And of course, you being an attorney over there at disabilityattorney.net.
I speak Latin to all my clients.
Yeah, all your billings in Latin.
That's right. Ipso fatso.
Hey, I'd like to say hi to some people who are tuning in on Facebook Live. We thank you a whole lot for that. Hey, Jerry Donnelly. This guy, Jerry, my friend from high school, he's just a year younger than me. He's 58, and he's a triathlete. Mm-hmm. And he just swam and biked and ran. And
why do they try athletes? And why do they? He keeps on trying.
He's like three ways. He's an athlete three ways.
Oh,
yeah,
good for him.
And I don't know if he won or whatever, but he sure looked triumphant, and he didn't look that tired at the end.
Good for him.
If I drove a car 26 miles, I'd be a little tired.
But
I
anyway, think about it. Running a triathlon, I'm tired.
Well, Jerry, it's glad to have you here. And my dear Camilla from California. Thank you, honey. Thanks for listening. Pat Largo, hey, brother, my comedy buddy. And there's Donna Rouge, one of our CE5 friends. And that's what this, and there's Mark Cottingham again, Larry Rill. Hey, baby Pamela, there we are. That's what the show, one of the core elements of the show is about, is CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. But we've actually, we're kind of redefining our call letters a little bit to HICE, which is human-initiated contact experiences.
Or human-initiated close encounters. Either one will do, but I say that HICER is nicer.
HICER is nicer.
There's no implication that as somebody was abducted and had angry things done to them, which was the initial the meaning of CE5.
Oh yes, that's right. The CE5, yeah, was a CE5 included a medical exam,
right,
of good or not good.
Well, it's interesting. I was listening to a lecture by Robert O'Dean, who I listened to, a few years ago when I first, came out of the ET closet. And this lecture was from 1994. And he's a fascinating guy. I don't know if he's still alive.
What's his name?
Robert O'Dean.
Robert O'Dean. Okay.
Period. It's the last name is Dean, not O'Dean. He's not Irish, but he's Robert Dean. And his lectures were really on point, and he was talking about what we're still talking about today. Disclosure hasn't taken place, but what he came what he was talking about in the lecture that I caught was, he had predicted that that contact would elevate man to a higher spiritual realm, and that's what it's all about, and uniting humanity with itself. He also indicated that, that we're all a big experiment with at least, based on what he learned in the military, with at least 4 extraterrestrial races that are involved with the manipulation of the human genome, and have been doing that for 500,000 to 1 million years.
Yeah,
and that this genetic manipulation continues to go on, and that and much like with the free research that we know about and that we've read, Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters, that abductees who have physical examinations performed, and some have kids, and what Dean said is we all have to, everybody, the people who've been abducted, don't get too upset about it, because you have to realize your place in the evolution of humanity and what's going on.
Yes.
And if you do, and you more likely surrender yourself to it, and then understand where you are, you're going to be better off, because you're making a contribution to the betterment of humanity and mankind. And the free research basically confirms this, because years after CE4s and abduction experiences, and people that were actually tested and probed and had samples taken, the 85%, 86% look favorably upon their abduction experience. And you wouldn't really think that way from the kind of crap that we're getting from government and the scare stations, some of which are like, even coast to coast. I get notified here that there's a coast to coast episode out, and it says, hunters encounter bizarre UFOs in the remote Mojave Desert. I want to know, what's the difference between a UFO and a bizarre UFO? I mean, really?
It's just a regular, it's a Camaro UFO. Everybody's got one.
A bizarre UFO. I mean, are we that used to them that we have to differentiate and call them bizarre?
Yeah, of course. Well, the sensationalism has reached a horrible level. I forget what it was I saw the other day that was sensationalized. It was like a steel scrub brush or something. It was just like the most dynamic steel scrub brush you've ever owned.
Hey, I came up with a new nickname for Tom DeLonge.
What's that? Tom DeLonge? Who? Go ahead. He was the lead singer of Blink 182.
Yeah, I call him Blinky. He came out this week and said, it's coming. There's a friend of mine in the CIA. He's going to tell me. It's like, and then I'm watching this lecture by Robert Dean from 1994.
He's saying the same thing.
Someday they're going to tell us, you know how many people have died waiting. I mean, yes,
sure.
And Stan died this week too, and that's unfortunate. So
yes, Stan. What was it? The Fleischer? What was it Stan?
I'm not really a UFO guy.
Right.
You know, I'm kind of like I'm an experienced
Stan Friedman.
5 minutes Stan Friedman.
Friedman.
But he's like been a stalwart in this for, the old ones are dying off.
He's the Henry Kissinger of all this.
Oh, but he's a nice Henry Kissinger.
Right.
Yeah, he's not responsible for 50 million people dying on the planet. So.
Oh, that part. I didn't read that part of his resume. But anyway, yeah, folks. And that's part of this show is the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind to a degree, but also the Heiss human initiated contact experience. And, I think about, because I've met some abductees in the past and they seem okay. But I got to say, just on a personal level, I've had some sightings and like I said, my connection started in utero. So I really don't, I got an odd recollection of the whole thing. But if you were as an adult, if you were abducted and brought onto an extraterrestrial craft and had a medical procedure examination done to you, unless they gave you they popped their fingers and made it so you could forget about it or something. Or block your memory a little bit. Really though, what else could you think about the rest of your life?
Right.
Than that day. That's a huge comma in someone's life.
Yeah, it is. And actually, I have one of my former clients, and the only reason I tell this is that not only she was a former client, but she's a friend, and she's a friend of a friend's, and an experiencer. But she was an abductee, and she ended up having her eggs removed and having and giving birth to 3 hybrids. Human
Really?
hybrids, yeah,
really,
yeah. And I know another abductee who lives in South Florida, solid as a rock, and she's been on a ship and traveled off. And the people that tell you this stuff tell you in such a way that you understand that this person is not bullshitting.
Really,
wow. This is they got no reason to lie. They got no reason to embellish. They have, none of that. And,
right.
And they're reliable, solid people. So,
yeah, I agree. Hey, hi, Patty Copeland, Johnny Sadler. There's my buddy Eddie Yarb. And the people that I've met have been the same way, and there is a little difference to them in their demeanor.
Well, yeah, anything involving contact is going to change you significantly for life.
Yeah.
And some people end up especially the abductees, they will, of course, dwell on things more than others. Perhaps I probably would, but I find the whole contact experience very spiritually enabling and freeing exercise in life.
Yeah. Well, of all the things that I've been involved with throughout my life, my spiritual journey, this is definitely the high water mark. And I just wonder, where it's going to go from here. Because, there's another huge camp of thought that believes that the UFO extraterrestrial experience is just another leg of a government coercion, another part of our mind control that makes us take our focus off of what's happening, around us and puts us in this ethereal state of mind, which makes us, I guess, easier to control. I don't know.
Not me. I take a look at what once you understand that the government has lied about the existence of extraterrestrials forever,
right.
You realize they lie about everything, and there's no compunction. Their whole attitude is, look, you don't need to know because it's in your best interest not to know. I am a 63-year-old man. I have a law degree. I don't need somebody telling me that you don't need to know because we don't think you're old enough and mature enough to do this. It's like really?
You will ride with those training wheels until you get this down pat.
That's right, or die with Robert O'Dean waiting for disclosure, and you don't need to wait there to have the government tell you that something is real.
And to me, the most suspicious thing would be if the government was the one that introduced the disclosure. I don't believe that our extraterrestrial friends need press agents.
Right. Speaking of which, did you see that post I did this week of the South Korean, was it the soccer championship where they had the flying dragon in 5G?
No.
And the dragon, you got to check out your own website, Lou.
Dude, I've been so busy. I haven't been Facebooking much at all.
Well, what they did last week, they did a simulated 4-dimensional or 3-dimensional dragon flying completely around the stadium.
Whoa.
And then he lands on the scoreboard.
Oh,
yeah. Man. And it looks real. It's real as heck. And I posted it, and some people were saying, well, geez, I mean, if the government people can do this now, the reality is the government had that technology with Operation Bluebeam almost 40 years ago.
In the 70s.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my only reply to some of the questions were, yes, this is how they sent the missile into the Twin Towers or whatever they did to cause the initial explosion. They projected the gray airplane, and we all know that there are no gray airplanes. They're all white, but they hadn't perfected technology.
Didn't have any lettering on it either.
Yeah, it was enough to get it done. But people don't stretch their imaginations any further than they have to. There's so many people out there that don't want to do this or want to ask questions because they're comfortable with not knowing.
And for those of you who aren't catching up with what we're saying here, I believe, and I believe Michael does too, that the World Trade Center attacks back in 2001 were a orchestrated, it was a munition style bombing. And what you saw, or what they made you believe you saw, was jetliners crashing into these towers. But we believe what you saw was a holographic image, sent, in high quality. And like I said, they've had it since the 70s. And there's actually some very glitchy tape of a couple of them where you can actually see like the wing fading out, or where the wing would have passed something, but it didn't.
Right.
And then, of course, and the towers were just wired for bombs. And
people would say, like, why would the government do that? Well, number one, the other thing I posted on the site this week was there was an investigation about a group of Israelis who were eventually left the country, and the company they were working for was a front from Mossad.
Yeah.
They were stopped on Route 3 in New Jersey with a van full of explosives, and the only reason they were stopped is because before the Twin Towers got hit, they were parked in New Jersey on their van with the cameras, and then when the planes hit, they were high-fiving each other.
Yes.
And they were reported by a lady who's living in an apartment close by.
Right.
But we never hear about that. That gets brushed over, and it made the national news there for a little while. And the photographs that they had in their cameras and everything else, they disappeared in 2014.
Yes.
So the Justice Department doesn't have them anymore.
Aw.
So they scrubbed it, and there's
and what that was when that initially happened, that was to even incite more anger to the American public, because those guys were Israeli. Nobody knew they were Israeli. They looked Middle Eastern. So consequently, our mindset, if you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So what that did is you're watching these Middle Eastern guys, and Israelis or Middle Eastern guys celebrate when they're watching the towers burn down. And but consequently, what that was a congratulatory celebration for the wiring job that those guys did.
Right.
They were in the World Trade Center for like 2 weeks.
Or months. They're actually in for months and months.
Months?
Okay. Yeah. And if people ask, like, why would we do that? Just another false flag, like they tried to do this past week with Iran. And if it weren't for the Twin Towers, we never would have invaded Afghanistan or Iraq, which was already on the books to be done. And all we needed was a triggering Pearl Harbor-like event in which the evil empire here, the deep state, sacrificed the American people to do this.
And it's not beyond that. I mean, we sent 58,000 boys to Vietnam for no apparent reason.
Right, killed them.
But what there's several backstories to this. I didn't know we were going to go on 9/11 today. I would have brushed up a little more.
It's okay.
But
so we get for flying by the seat of our pants.
I've been looking at this stuff so long, it all starting to pop up. Actually, one of the things was the Twin Towers were built with asbestos insulation, and the actual cost of redoing the towers would have surpassed demolition and rebuilding. I mean, it was such a big deal because the asbestos was so dangerous. So you got these two giant white elephant buildings in theory, and they were recently purchased by a guy who knew some things.
Yeah, Silverman. Oh, wait a minute. He's Israeli too, isn't he?
Yes. Of course.
Yeah. And double and triple indemnity insures them all to 6 weeks before this happened for the payout.
Yeah, he wound up with $4.2 billion.
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought? No, if you start connecting the dots together, you might be called a conspiracy theorist.
Well, and conspiracy theorists, I kiss it right on the lips, because if that's what I am these days, that's fine. And what that is, that's a government generated term to alienate people like us who believe in alternative news, less reported news,
facts,
some facts, absolutely.
No, a lot of facts.
Of facts. I'll give it that. And I even challenge my own facts these days. But what I can't change about the way I feel is when I feel something. A lot of people say, "Oh, your emotions are nothing." I'm on the other end of the stick. I think your emotions are everything. And so when I hear a story or an explanation, and I'm not saying I can't be coerced and I can't be tricked. That's not true. I certainly can. But what I find is there's things that identify as true to me, and there's things that identify as baloney to me. And I got to tell you, all the mainstream stories sound like baloney. And here's the other thing, that whether you believe in any of this stuff or not, or whether this rings a bell with you or not, if you're starting to look, if you're starting to figure it out, Cat Carroll says we're conspiracy analysts.
I like that. Thank you, Cat.
I like that. Yeah, very nice.
It's so much more tame.
Yeah, it is. Here's what I challenge you to do. And if you send me the Popular Mechanics article, I'll sneeze at you. How did Trade Center 7 come down? The building that did not get hit by airplane.
Heavy sneeze.
Theoretical. Yeah.
Heavy sneeze.
Big gooey sneeze. And how did that thing come down? It had a little office fire on the 7th floor, but yet it fell in a demolition style explosion.
Yeah, fell into his own footprint.
Yes.
Perfectly. It was like the both the Twin Towers and the Building 7 were such a perfect demolition job. Whoever did that work has to be congratulated on the perfection of how they did.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They fell right into their own footprint just perfectly.
Yeah. And like I said, and World Trade Center 7 fell 7 hours later. And because of a little office fire. And that's also where Rudolph Giuliani had his top secret bunker New York disaster office.
Ah,
yeah.
Perfect.
And the other thing too, I have a decent source on this, the records of where the $2.3 trillion the accounting for that was in World Trade Center 7, because Rumsfeld on 9/10 spoke to Congress and said, We lost about $2.3 trillion.
And the guys in the Pentagon that were ahead of the operations were at the epicenter of where the missile hit. Oh, I'm sorry, the airplane.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Go figure. What are the chances?
Folks, and none of us want to think that any of this stuff is true. None of us want to think that our government would do this to us. But you have to remember now, our government is an amalgamation of several governments. Israel, England, and Germany.
Well, England handed over the empire to the United States, but it was still being orchestrated by the same people that orchestrated the whole homeland in Israel kind of thing.
But we still pay the Queen every day, brother.
The Balfour Declaration. It was all just totally orchestrated. And if you go through the dots in history and start connect them, you start realizing that governments or people with power who have an agenda are more than willing and able to sacrifice even their own people. And I think that's part of what happened in the Holocaust itself, is that in order to garner the kind of support that was necessary, that the awful things that happened in places like Buchenwald and Auschwitz were magnified into something that was more heinous than the starvation and the disease that was rife in the camps because of the Allied bombing that cut off food supplies to both the soldiers and the inmates.
Oh.
And if you look into it too, you can see how the Soviet Union helped manipulate those facts to their own benefit after the war, including things like, we talked about the other week about, laughing at the whole idea that Hitler had died in the bunker, and and we were all fed that forever. And here's the United States knowing we had information in the CIA photographs that, there's Hitler in Argentina. Why don't you wave to him and say hi?
Right. Well, and that really, we got about 3 minutes before we got to play the bad news. But the one thing that I know, and it's constant, and we learned this when we were children, the truth eventually comes to the top. You really can't hide the truth that long. And what's happening here in this country and with this information society that we're living in right now, some of these stories get scratched, and then they get rubbed up on, and then they get sanded down. And then you really start to see what really happened when more and more people go, yeah, it wasn't quite like that, was it? And because what happens is that the mind manipulation that we go through on a daily basis really is, that's why I don't watch television anymore. The other day, I was in a Chinese restaurant and they had regular TV on while I'm trying to scarf down my food. I literally walked out of there and ate on the trunk of my car. I could not take the commercials and the things that we think the things that they think that we think are important. But the reality of it is that's not even a true statement. They tell us what we think is important.
They even tell us what we're supposed to like. I mean, how else would people like Justin Bieber ever get popular?
Yeah, well, that's the whole Hollywood machine. That's 2 hours of rattling. Right. Yeah, that's and all those people are they're hired. They're all hired guns, and they all tell us what we think we're supposed to know, but we don't. And we got 1 minute till break. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf, Michael Murburg right next to me here.
Yeah, and catch us on YouTube, imho.love. Like it, subscribe, post for us, tell your friends, because I'm presently blocked from posting to the traditional sites until further notice. So I'm a rebel, Daddy. Yeah, man. They apparently they don't like me. So.
Well, you got a big voice, brother, and be careful when you speak the truth. But you know that. Yeah, I know that. So, well, folks, we'll be back in a little bit. We got to play the news and some ads. Be back in about 6 minutes. Thanks, everybody, for loving on us. And yeah, Cat Carol, they gave the order to pull it. That's what Silverman said. Pull it. That's just a word you use every day, right? Yeah. Pull it.
Yeah. Well, unless you're Harvey Weinstein, he probably did. So,
or selling chickens. Get some pullets there.
Just another pullet. Just another name for a chicken.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
WZHR, Zephyr Hills.
FM 104.3.
Controversial ban of White House resistance. I'm Barbara Cusack. Longtime televangelist Pat Robertson has come out against a new abortion measure signed into law by Alabama's governor. Robertson, the host of CBN's 700 Club, addressed the issue on his program.
I think Alabama has gone too far. They've passed a law that would give a 99-year prison sentence to people who could commit abortion. There's no exception for rape or incest. It's an extreme law, and they want to challenge Roe versus Wade. But my humble view is that this is not the case we want to bring to the Supreme Court, because I think this one will lose.
President Trump is set to outline a plan tomorrow to harden border security and overhaul the legal immigration system. Senior administration officials say the proposal favors applicants who speak English, are well-educated, and have job offers. For decades, U.S. immigration laws have given priority to family-based immigration. The White House escalated its resistance to congressional attempts to investigate President Trump. Correspondent Sunland Sarfati reports the House Judiciary Committee was given notice today.
Jerry Nadler has been very clear that he is not backing down, that he intends to fight this every step of the way. Nadler said today that he is now seriously considering using Congress's contempt powers to potentially impose, and these are his words here, very large fines on people who do not comply with congressional subpoenas.
North Carolina's Attorney General Josh Stein filed a lawsuit against Juul Labs, piling more pressure on the biggest U.S. e-cigarette maker.
My investigation showed two things. One, it targeted young people. And two, it misleads the public about the potency of the nicotine in its products.
Congresswomen who have served in the military are setting up a new caucus to support the nation's growing ranks of female service members. The bipartisan caucus, which includes men, would be a first. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Tired of opening your closet and never finding what you want to wear? We can help. Stitch Fix is a personal styling service that matches you with your own stylist. Someone who listens to what you love and delivers the best clothes for you right to your door. With Stitch Fix, you'll get to discover new styles, new brands, and new looks to fit your unique shape and your budget. Discover the stylists and styles that work for you at StitchFix.com. Personal styling for women, men, and kids. StitchFix.com. Personal styling for everybody.
At Indeed, we understand that when it comes to hiring, it's important to have a large talent pool to choose from. But sometimes too many good options can be overwhelming. That's why Indeed doesn't just give you access to a large pool of job seekers. We also offer screener tools that let you instantly narrow down your search. Hone in on hiring with Indeed. Experience Indeed for yourself today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, did you know there's a live psychology talk show Thursday and Friday at noon where you can call in and get free guidance and also learn several different topics relating to ending the stigma of mental health? It's called Moments of Clarity on WTAN 1340 AM. It's with licensed therapist Tiffany Warner, who will try to end the stigma of mental health. But the only way you can do that is to listen to Moments of Clarity Thursday and Friday at noon on WTAN 1340 AM, the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey Bay Area, this is Bad Craig, host of WTN's newest talk show, Smoke Cigars, Tampa's only true lifestyle show. With me and my sidekick, Mr. Producer, we will feature many of the local Tampa Bay cigar shops. We'll keep you updated on cigar-related news, cigar tips, and trends. We'll also talk to some of the biggest names in the cigar industry. All this and so much more. So sit back, grab your favorite smoke, and enjoy. Right here on Smoke Cigars, Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on WTN Radio Network.
If you would like to become a wholesale buyer of the premium quality longevity product that you hear about right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network, for personal service, you can pick up the phone right now and call Lola at 727-441-3311. Again, that's Lola at 727-441-3311. Or for even faster service, log on to tantalkhealth.com. That's tantalkhealth.com. Here's to your health and longevity.
Let's go bowling!
Let's Go Bowling, heard on the Tan Talk Radio Network every Wednesday
11 a.m. to 12 Eastern Time. Sponsored by 12 Strike and Innovative Ball Spinner. If you bowl, if you haven't bowled in a while, or if you never bowled, why don't you be one of 65 million people have bowled last year? Listen to the tip of the week. Bowling stars, old and new. Let's Go Bowling Show. GoBowlingShow.com.
Are you looking for a job? Join me, Gene Hodge, on the Employment Opportunity Hour, Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m., where I will tell you and share with you, as well as answer all of your questions and help you find enjoyable employment instead of a job. This is the only talk show that talks about everyone who makes up our workforce. Join me on the Employment Opportunity Hour every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the Employment Opportunity Hour.
There's only one place on the radio where golfers like you can turn for the best tips, interviews, product reviews, local tournaments, and everything golf talk. The Golf Show, guys.
Hey, join the Golf Show, guys, every Wednesday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's not just funny, it's informative, it's celebrities, and it's a lot of applause. It's the Golf Show, guys, Wednesday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the second half of imho.love. I'm Lou Angelwolf. Right next to me is Michael Murburg. And IMHO is the in my humble opinion.love. That's everything is an opinion. And in the end, everything is about love. That's what we're finding out as we get a little older and a little wiser here on the Tan Talk Radio Network. We're broadcasting throughout the Central Florida area. 1340 AM, 106.1 FM, 104.3 FM. We're all over the place. This is not a hard show to catch. We, of course, have the mothership, imho.love. All the shows are recorded. Our fantastic producer, Kathy, puts those up for us. And well, they'll be permanently archived at BitChute. So if all this ever goes away, and you want to say, hey, you know, Lou and Mike were talking about something once, and I wonder where it is, but I can't find them on YouTube. I can't find them all over the place. They've been deleted. BitChute, BitChute, BitChute. You can find all the shows archived there. Michael sent me an interesting article throughout the week, and I did get a chance to semi-read it. I mean, I glazed it pretty good. And because this is kind of something that's been a little something that I've been carrying this around my whole life. The professor at Yale, his name is David Gelernter, I believe is how you say it. Mm-hmm. He wrote Darwin's Doubt is one of the most important books in a generation.
Right. Yeah, he's a Jewish guy that essentially turned atheist, and as a physicist, he made an about face, did his research, and came to the conclusion that Darwin was wrong, and that at the base of all this math and intelligence that's formulating about how the universe is created and what it's made of, he says, look, there's a supreme intelligence at the bottom of this all. So he's gone from being a Darwinist in evolutionary terms and evolved into what we are, basically understanding that there's a divine connection and spark in us all, and it all is related to the divine creator that got everything moving in the first place.
I agree, and people ask me what religion I am anymore, and I've certainly been a few over the years. But I guess my current and most accurate description would be I'm a monotheistic modalist. Which I do believe there was a creator of this whole thing, one giant entity, okay, that was kind of in charge of Earth. Now, this entity probably may have other planets too, because it's pretty powerful. I'm not going to gentrify it.
Yeah. I was a Catholic once, and I became an apodistic atheist.
An apodistic atheist?
Yes. Yeah, I was kind of full of myself.
And the modalist, of course, is someone that stays modern. and I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to say I was wrong. I'm willing to put down prior beliefs if I find something that is more accurate, more true.
Mhm.
And I think that that's a good way to be. Or I probably wouldn't be being that way.
Yeah.
But
It's very it's very dudesque of you. Very dudesque.
Well, the dude's got a lot of stuff right, man. I really am a dudist priest.
Yeah,
And,
well, the dude lives the Tao.
Yes.
Yeah, the dude does the Tao, and it's just the Coen brothers put that movie together. And if you're a study of Buddhism, a koan is a lesson that you were taught in Buddhism,
right?
So there's all these different serendipities in that movie that that show exactly how the master is supposed to move through life. Don't get too attached to things. When in doubt, do nothing. And he does he drinks a lot of White Russians. I mean, that's kind of takes woo wee to another level.
All that stuff has wonderful symbolism. There's a great film, or there's a great book out about the Coen brothers films, how they all have a like a biblical or Old Testament skeleton. That was they wrote the story on the Bible story or the Torah story, and it was a fascinating read. And
how did they get Raising Arizona? Did they get that out of the Bible?
Well, there's some there's some stuff about children and
Tex Cobb. He kind of looks biblical.
Yeah. You got to look and you got to loosen it up a little bit, but you'll see it. And especially this last thing they did, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
That was hilarious.
That opening segment was the best.
Oh man!
But steeped in Torah lessons,
right?
So and the Coen, I forget the name of the book. It's about the Coen brothers and the biblical links to all their stories.
I love it. Two other Princeton guys, by the way.
Coen brothers?
Yep.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Dude, you're in high style.
Yeah,
there,
I
man.
know. They think they make mistakes. I'm one of them. But that's okay.
But this David Gellinter, as he is kind of dispelling all this Darwinian stuff, which, to be honest with you, I spoke in the first half about things that you believed and things that you felt. I never trusted the whole Darwinian thing. I never have believed in evolution. I mean, it was mandatory teaching when I was coming up through grade schools and stuff. They taught you evolutionary theory, but sold it to you like it was fact.
Right.
And they didn't underline the word theory too often.
And they never gave you facts that contradicted it. Like, there's that the coal axe that was found in 400 million year old coal seams. It's like, how did that get there? It's 400 million years old.
Right.
And like human beings have only, been in the metal age, or Bronze Age began like 10,000 years ago. So how did that ever happen?
Well, I kind of know how it happened.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't until I reached this decade that I know how it happened. If you study back in history, around the turn of the century, the Rockefellers were extraordinarily wealthy people. Even back then, they had billions of dollars, which is just like an unbelievable amount of money.
And they still are, because they own Chase Bank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but what they did is they own Monopoly. Thanks. Who woke him up?
Great comment.
That's exactly
if
true.
You weren't so valuable, we'd bring you out here.
But they also invested deeply in our college and educational system. Okay.
Right.
And one of the things that when you invest deeply, you get to appoint people to boards and county or councils and committees. And so consequently, you got somebody on the inside doing your bidding. And
Lawrence Rockefeller once said that, it's great that women are in the workforce, because now they can't, mind their children at home. We get to collect more taxes from their labor, and they get to drop their children off at an earlier age so that we can start indoctrinating them before the first grade.
Yes. And nothing could be more true. Because, like I think of my son, Isaac, who's He's 20 now. He's at University of Central Florida, and he's been in school his whole damn life. I feel bad for the guy. His mom and I were having some, societal issues or whatever when he was young. So we didn't get the full, because I was supposed to, I was doing stand up at the time. I was supposed to take care of him during the day. And then when she got home from, she's a doctor of pharmacy. When she got home doing her thing, it was going to be this shared thing. But the congruency of the relationship came apart. And my son started getting, day school or daycare at very, very young age. I know he wasn't even 3 when we started dropping him off for the day.
My kids are right out of the crib.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Entire life.
Yeah. And I tell you, and son, if I owe you an apology, please accept it. I did the best I could on the day that I did it.
And that's all you can ask for.
Hindsight being 2020, I would have never done it. I'd have kept you on my lap the entire time.
Hey, let me get a pitch in here. The imho.love is on Facebook, and some of the articles that we're going to talk about and things we're going to talk about are posted there. My site is Tampa HICE/CE5 Darby Ranch, Florida, USA.
Say that slower one more time.
Tampa HICE/CE5 Darby Ranch, Florida, USA.
Okay.
And get the plug in for disabilityattorney.net because I get a deduction because we support this show. So,
right. Well, don't rush through that though. Your disabilityattorney.net, your practice is dude, it's the right thing. I mean, of all the attorneys that I know, you do good work for nice people in an honest and square fashion.
Well, it's the reason I did this is Guazhu is a kind of a god among the Chinese, and I got to learn about him early in life. And he was the protector and the defender of the infirm and the disabled. And I end up, it was a gift to be able to represent people that are the most defenseless in society. Those who are mentally infirm, those are mentally retarded, and people that are disabled and can't make their way through life without the help, the gratuitous help that the government gives them. But I'm blessed to be able to do that and to be able to support myself enough so that I can engage myself in human-initiated contact and researching and writing and also in lecturing on it.
Well, and dude, it's a privilege to be your friend. It really is. I mean, and as sharp as you are and as well as you know the law, I mean, you could be living on the water, driving Ferraris and, living a big life, but
wait a minute, picture me in a Ferrari for a minute.
A Ferrari pickup.
I had a buddy of mine lives in Louisiana. He flew out, and I flew in there to go to Mardi Gras, and he drove to pick me up in his convertible Porsche. And we're driving back into town, and we're stopped at a stoplight, and this carload of black guys starts throwing beads at me. I go, what are you throwing beads at me for? He goes, dude, you just look like a float.
You look like a float.
Yeah, I couldn't sit all the way down to the forest, so I'm like,
Oh wow, that's funny. But the old 911s, they once you got in them, you had plenty of leg room, and they were comfortable cars.
Yeah.
But the newer, the
bygone day.
Yeah, those days, man. But anyway, folks, and for those of you who are listening, that are part of our HICE group,
our listening empire,
our entire listening empire. Hey, we get a few hundred every week. Oh, cool. It's very nice. Cool. And Lord knows where this goes afterwards. That's the thing I really love about this is we're out here. We're opening up our hearts. And we're speaking things that aren't necessarily popular. A lot of people may roll their eyes at some of the information that we dispense, and that's fine. You're entitled. You are entitled to your opinion, just like we are. And this is the IMHO, in my humble opinion, because we do try to add an air of humility about it,
and humor,
and we try to, we serve it to you. Like I was a little kid. My mom I used to have to take medicine. She would mush it up in a jelly spoon. Like if I had to take an aspirin, she'd mush it up in jelly and let me eat a little piece of jelly with aspirin in it. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to mush up some aspirin, which will make you feel better.
And give you some grape jelly.
Some nice, strawberry.
Strawberry. Oh, she was nice.
Grapes for communists.
Nice. Hey, on the website this week, we did manage to post some things, and one of the articles, the video articles that we posted on was the spiritual heart, science and electromagnetic field, which goes into some detail about how the interrelationship between people, when you're close enough, you do trigger each other's heart chakra, and you unite with this much larger the field that exists. You can't see it, but it exists. We also posted on the deep state hiding in plain sight, the collapse of the American empire, and then to get out of that genre, I posted something called The Construct, which is an absolutely wonderful documentary. It's about an hour and a half long. It's basically on how the matrix is formed around us, and how they continue it on, and how we need to once you listen to the documentary and get it, you start picturing the world around you much more differently than you did before you started watching the documentary.
And what's the name of that?
It's called The Construct.
The Construct.
Yeah, it's a documentary.
It's on YouTube?
It's on YouTube, and it's also posted on imho. If it's not on imho.love, it'll be there, but it's also on my site at the ranch.
Okay.
And then we also posted on the psyche is interaction, and the real reason why DMT is banned.
Yes. Boy, they really don't want you knowing who you are.
Yeah, and that whole DMT thing, it's, did you see this week where Denver had decriminalized the possession of psilocybin mushrooms?
Yeah, that's a big plus.
Yeah, I mean,
like Colorado needs more stoners, though.
Well, you know what it does is that psilocybin, it creates a DMT, which it stimulates the pineal gland, which gives you essentially a major highway towards unity consciousness and connecting with ET.
Yes.
And DMT is because it's the chemical, the active chemical, and just like everything else that man has a tendency to touch, he distills everything into its most lethal form. So looks like almost every dose of DMT is a heroic dose, to use one of Terrence McKenna's terms.
I'm a little I got reservation about that.
Yeah, I won't touch the stuff. I'm not ready for it.
But here's the other thing too, and I'm so happy that the United States is legalizing medical marijuana and the CBD oils and all those things. I'm really, really happy because there's a lot of people getting healed with that. And here's the other thing too that they're not telling you. Well, I mean, certain sites are telling you, but the mainstream pharmacy is never going to tell you that you have endocannabinoid receptors in your body pre-wired. You are designed to receive CBD oil, any cannabis or THC. This is all well with your soul.
Yeah, it could be part of our genetic programming. I mean, when ET put us on the planet and they kind of manipulated our genes, they also gave us pot.
Yeah.
And like psilocybin. It was like, and when you need to dial us, you might want to use this stuff, and we'll get in touch with you quicker this way.
I'm so happy I found that plant. Yeah. That little plant has really, I mean, it's been a charge for me. I got to tell you. And all my life, I guess, let's see, I'm knocking on 60, so I'm probably going into 47 years of a loving, casual relationship with cannabis.
Yeah.
And I've fought people, just arguing. No, I didn't actually fight.
People who smoke dope really don't fight a lot.
When was the last time you got a fist fight?
Smoking dope. It's like, that's the other thing. If you don't like a guy, you bring a joint over and start smoking. All of a sudden, he's your friend.
Sure.
Yeah.
I saw a meme the other day. It said, 5 guys drink booze all night, they'll start a fight. 5 guys smoke weed all night, they'll start a band. And that's the other thing too, that it does kind of take me out. I just like to be like a quarter bubble off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be wasted. I don't want to be floored. I don't want to be greened out. Just want to be just mildly displaced, just a little bit off. And that consequently opens up this little port where kind of like my sense of humor gets, it's like when you hook the cables up, it's right there. It's where you get a nice charge.
I used to use the exercise when I had to swim for hours at a time, just, a friend of mine gave me some pot and I'd smoke a little bit of it. And 2 hours later, I'd been, swimming for 2 hours and didn't even notice it. So it makes that time, it does affect your ability to realize, time. And, when you're stoned, what else are you going to do?
Well,
perfect. Take a walk
and
enjoy life.
You do. It just makes, to me, it just makes everything better, And have you also noticed too, this is something, I should probably just make a meme out of it. You ever notice how the font Comic Sans, Comic Sans, like comic book type text?
Yes.
Okay. It ruins everything. If you can have the wittiest thing, but if you used the font Comic Sans, you just lost all credibility with me.
I'll remember that.
Comic Sans ruins everything.
It means I have to find it.
You'll find it. You'll know exactly.
Times New Roman, it's not.
There's our friend Therese. Kat, thank you for that. Kat Carroll listening. And Denny Curotolo, hey brother, good to see you, man. Nice to see you. Mikey DeSalvo's out there too. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening in on the Facebook there. We're also on tantalk1340.com on the live YouTube broadcast. If you lose connection or something happens, or you can always hop over to there, and they archive it for a little while. They don't hold it very long there. But between now and then, Kathy usually grabs it, puts it on BitChute, imho.love. And there's a lot of places to see it, and we try to share it. But consequently, I wish I spent a lot more time with the show, but I kind of got to do it as I go, and just a busy time of year for me. And but I'm here. I love you. Good seeing you. Good listening to you, all of you.
Well, so what else do we have that we're not prepared to talk about today?
Well, It's 2019. The time is really, really ripping by. The year's almost halfway over, and my neighbor still has Christmas lights up. Apparently, this whole time continuum thing has gotten away from them.
Wow.
And, but after
got his green card, his 420 card.
After July, just leave them up.
Yeah.
Hey,
what's the use?
Oh, you got to jump on it.
Yeah. Look at all the time you save. Hey, it's like that store. There's a store in Clearwater here on 60 it's a Christmas store.
Yes.
And they're open 365 days a year.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think they close on Christmas.
Yeah. What do you do in July? It's like,
dude, the whole Christmas thing is huge. My former brother-in-law, Donnie, the one that ruined the 55 Chevy, was like a Christmas trader guy on eBay. All the collectible Christmas garbage, the certain ornaments and decorations. He was running that stuff all year long, man. There's some people that they obsess about Christmas. I'm sure there's a word for it.
Yeah.
There's a word for the fear of
freaking nuts. Nuts. I can see these visions of some old lady in Brooksville just rocking in her chair.
Yeah,
her living room is full of every kind of Christmas.
Waiting for Amazon to bring her another stuffed Santa Claus. Yeah, I know. But hey, if that's what gets you through the day, if you ain't hurting nobody, you can do all that stuff. Yeah, we don't care. Just don't be hurting anybody. And that's the other thing that makes all this very unpalatable to me, is that there's the glorification of idiots.
It's called politics.
Yeah, and it's called politics. And that's why I don't argue partisan politics. I just don't.
And then the super idiots are celebrities who get involved in political arguments.
Yeah, exactly. Like you really care about what Kim Kardashian thinks about the border control.
Right. Right.
know,
Because she's an expert.
and I still go back to the fact that we can blame all this on O.J. Simpson.
Hey, speaking of bizarre things, I just read this week where Caitlyn Jenner lost her beans.
Lost her beans?
Yeah, she got no beans left.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was news to me.
Oh.
Yeah, but the good news is that Michelle Obama still
Well, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, you have spent another hour with Lou Angelwolf and Michael Murburg here at imho.love. We thank you so much for tuning in. Vaughn, thank you this week. We'll be back next week, and we'll probably have a direct topic next week. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll think about it.
And what's the name of that film again? That's
The Construct.
The Construct. Well, I'm going to watch that tonight, and that'll put me to sleep, and I can do some vivid dreaming.
Yes.
Some lucid dreaming.
Yeah, I'll go into that another night.
Okay.
That's funny.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf. There's Michael Murburg. Tune into go over to our website and sign up and like and subscribe and do all those things. Thanks, everybody. Hey, Gans, thanks for jumping in there. Jerry, you rock. And Jesse, good seeing y'all. Hell, have a good night. Peace.